Week 11 is coming on. So let me give you my Week 12 power rankings. What is up, football fans? Week 12 is in the front window. I'll give you my power rankings for Week 12. Week 11 was very interesting. Closer games than I thought in a ton of different aspects. But I'm going to give you my power rankings. Some have changed, some have gone up, some have gone down. I need to take out the old one so I can tell who went where and what went how and all that stuff. Here it is. Rip it out. So without further ado, without me farting around too much, we are going to break this mama jam down. And we're going to start with honorable mentions. With honorable mentions, we have Seattle and Buffalo. Buffalo got a win against the Jets. Now, again, a win in the NFL is a win in the NFL. Coming from a Dolphins fan, obviously, a win is a win, regardless of who the opponent is. But I think that the 10 teams I have ahead of them are better. Same thing with Seattle. Seattle did get... No, they lost. Seattle lost to the Rams. So that's why I kind of still haven't put them in my top 10. They weren't in the top 10 last week either. So we're going to start with number 10. And my number 10 team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars beat the Titans 34-14. And the reason I have them at 10 is because of who I have at number 9. But I like the way Jacksonville's playing right now. They're sitting at 7-3. They're playing hard-nosed football. Trevor Lawrence, 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, 7 receptions, 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, I had him on the bench in my fantasy because I'm a big dumb. But love the way they're playing. And again, I think this week is Texans, Jaguars. Is it this week? I'll talk about that tomorrow in the picks. But all of a sudden, that division got real spicy. But the real reason I have them at 10 is because of who I have at 9, and that is the Houston Texans. Way to go, Houston. You beat the Cardinals 21-16, 6-4. C.J. Stroud, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Wasn't necessarily because of him why they won, but a good game from Houston, and that's the reason I have Houston above Jacksonville is because Houston went into Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars 37-17 in week 3. To me, that's the only reason I have them above the Texans is because they beat them. Jacksonville is now back in my top 10, and Houston went up 1 spot from last week. So, here you go, Houston. My number 8 team. Dallas Cowboys. Dallas doing what they needed to against somewhat of an inferior team in the Panthers, 33-10, week before they beat the Giants. So they kind of stayed at 8. So for the 3rd straight week for me in my power rankings, Dallas kind of stayed at 8. They beat the crap out of these bad teams. They struggled against the Eagles. Who am I to talk about this stuff? But I like them, and I have them at 8. My number 7 team. And they dropped. Last week I had them at 5. This week I have them at 7. It's the Cleveland Browns. Now, Cleveland, the reason I have you guys at drop down to 7 is you banged up. You know, you don't have your starting quarterback game. You barely beat the Steelers 13-10. I understand it's a division game, but that's my reason for kind of dropping you guys down to 7 from 5. So you went down 2 spots is because, you know, the 13-10 win, and you guys are just banged up at your starting quarterback position. Your starting quarterback, 165 yards and an interception. Like it was not a good game for them. And looking at the rest of their schedule, it's going to be hard. So that, to me, that's why I put them at number 7. My number 6 team going up 1 spot is the Miami Dolphins. Taking care of business against the Raiders. The offense kind of struggled in the second half, but God almighty, again, I'm a Dolphins fan, so I might sound a little biased. That defense looks good. Jalen Ramsey with the 2 interceptions. Jalen Phillips with the 2 sacks and the 1 interception. It was just what a game for the defense. Absolutely shut down the Raiders. Miami Dolphins are 7-3, 5-0 at home. The offense got to wake up. The offense got to play like they did in the first half of the season, and this team is dangerous. Could possibly see them going higher in the power rankings, but right now I have them at 6 because the teams ahead of them just have played better on all aspects of the game. So right now I got the Dolphins at number 6. My number 5 team is the Baltimore Ravens. I really like the way the Ravens are playing this season. Now, they still a little banged up, and we got good news that Andrews is not, or could possibly not be, out for the season, so that's good to hear. They beat the Bengals 34-20. It did help that Joe Burrow is out for the season, and Joe Burrow didn't finish that game in Baltimore. And to me, that's the only reason I have them at number 5, is because to me, the 4 teams ahead of them are kind of just a little bit better and had a little bit more dominant of a win, except for my number 4. But I'll talk about why 4 is 4, but I like the way the Ravens are playing. Mark Andrews, they got to hope he comes back so they can get their star tight end back. Lamar Jackson, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a good game. Thursday Night Football, but to me, the reason why I put them, well, they went up a spot from 6 to 5. But the reason they're 5 is because they beat a Bengals team that didn't have their starting quarterback. So that's it. Not saying they're bad or anything. But my number 4 team is the Detroit Lions. Now, Lions staying pat at number 4. But the Lions, you almost lost to the Bears. So that's why I didn't move you anywhere. I was like, you know what? You still won 31-6, 17 points in the fourth quarter. Came back, did your thing. Jared Goff, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. You're lucky Chicago didn't beat you. And that's why I kind of left you where you were at. Defense, your offense, but you won. So I'm just going to leave you where you're at. Now, I waited for the Monday night game to make the rest of this, to make this video essentially, and to do the power rankings, because my number 3 team is the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs, I'll say this, the Eagles got away with a lot. Now, obviously, the Chiefs got away with a hold, I think it was, on their touchdown. And then the Eagles got away with a pick play. But the Eagles got away with a lot. But the Chiefs, they struggled against that pass rush. They got after them. So I have the Chiefs at number 3. Still a very good team. Put up a big fight. Didn't lose by much. Final score was 21-17. Had a possibility to march down there and win the game, but they couldn't. Patrick Mahomes, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. His last 2 games, he didn't break 100 receiving yards. So it wasn't looking good there, but still top 5 team in my book. So I got the Chiefs at 3. My number 2 team, San Francisco Treat, beating the Buccaneers 27-14. Brock Purdy, 333 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3-3-3-3. Should change his jersey number to 3-3-3-3, not 1-3. They're just good. 7-3, 4-1 at home. Brandon Ayuk, 5 catches, 156 yards, 1 touchdown. CMC, 21 carries, 78 yards. They are the second best team in the NFL. They will play the Eagles, so we'll be able to see who the best team in the NFL is. But to me, 49ers are number 2 in my book, and the number 1 team is the only team that has 1 loss, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Regardless of how much they get benefited from the refs, and Eagle fans, just own up to it at this point. You get calls. Yeah, but you get calls. Some really good calls at the really convenient time. Just own up to it. But you are the best team. You're 9-1. How'd you lose to the Jets? Eagle fans, last year you were undefeated for so long, and your 1 loss was to the Commanders. And then this year, you're doing so well for so long, and your 1 loss is to the Jets. How? Any given Sunday, I guess. Any given Sunday. But 21-17, you beat the Chiefs. So you guys are number 1 on my power ranking. Probably number 1 on everyone's power ranking. But probably, you know what? Some people's power ranking might have the 49ers above you. but I have you at number 1. So comment below. Let me know your power ranking. If you like what I did for mine, let me know. I will see you guys later tonight, probably around 10:30, maybe 11, with my reaction to episode 1 of Hard Knocks with the Miami Dolphins. But like usual, stay classy. Heads up.